Just
You don't
wait
have to.
till.
All right,
Okay. Okay, reports of villagers, officers, and agents. Dan Roberts, I see you out there. You're on.
Such a suck.
The chief wisely left the room.
We need you.
I gave up my seat.
Yeah.
So you have our written submission. It was pretty actually quiet in January for the month that you have there. Unfortunately, February is not starting out the same way. We've had a couple of very serious incidents in the last week or so. One involving a road rage involving a gun that was waved at somebody, which we made an arrest there. And the other was just last night where we had a armed home invasion involving a stalker of unfortunately of a female resident, and we made an arrest there as well. So unfortunately, next month's report is going to look quite a bit different from this month's report. But this one's pretty quiet, and if you have any questions on it, I'll be glad to answer them. A lot of it is traffic related, as you would normally see. I wanted to mention, I mentioned this to Roger earlier today, I attend and I sit on the legislative committee for the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. And last week we had our meeting and conference, and there is a bill pending, and I want to make sure I spell his name or say his name correct. Representative Bradley Slagh, S-L-A-G-H, introduced House Bill 4012, which would directly affect Franklin in that 14-mile, the dirt portion between Inkster and Franklin. There are several municipalities that have that same type of issue where it's 55 miles an hour on the dirt road through a residential area, basically, because that is a county-maintained road. And this bill, if passed, would allow the village, working in conjunction with Oakland County and with MSP, to lower the speed limit on that road, which would be fantastic. I mean, you couldn't possibly drive 55 down it right now, given the potholes and things. If you did, you wouldn't have a car left. But still, it should not be at 55 miles an hour. It should be a 25 or 30 mile an hour speed limit through there. So,
Question.
Advocating us to support that.
yes, 100%.
What is the bill number?
It's House Bill 4012. Bradley Slagh, S-L-A-G-H, is the representative that introduced it. The Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police endorsed it because it basically pushes it back to local control for us to be able to set the speed limits there. So this is not just a Franklin issue, but it does certainly affect Franklin greatly. In fact, in the first iteration of the bill, Franklin was actually mentioned as one of the areas. So that was involved in
Do
it.
you want to
Question.
put together a letter that, either Roger and I can sign and,
I can certainly do that. Sure.
Okay.
The
are we
Absolutely.
okay with that?
Sure.
chief, question about the bill. So the bill is looking to change the jurisdiction of how those speed limits are set back
Correct.
to local.
Correct.
And currently, it's
Well, it requires everybody to agree. It requires the county road commission, the village of Franklin, and then MSP to agree that that should not be a 55 mile an hour stretch of the road.
but it's not currently 55 miles an hour.
It is currently 55 miles an hour.
It really.
Yes.
Not posted, but
I
It
don't-
is
I don't
not
recall
posted.
seeing it posted, so I,
Oh, you're not going to see it posted, yeah. But it is currently technically 55 miles an hour along that dirt portion of 14 Mile. It is. And that goes back to an old law, and it's largely because of, if you get up into the thumb into the, the farming communities where it's very flat, there's a lot of dirt roads, you could probably fly and do 55, and that's what it was for. But through here,
I
it's,
appreciate the education.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And then the last thing I'll mention, and I know the Finance Committee got a copy of my proposed budget for next year. I have to say, it's the largest year-on-year increase that I've ever proposed before. It's about 7% increase over last year's. So don't have a heart attack if you haven't seen it yet, and I know a lot of you have. A lot of that is due to contractual increases that the officers are getting based on the last union negotiated contract. The officers got a 4% raise for next year. I also have by the end of this fiscal year, all but one of my officers will have progressed through the salary ranges and will be at top salary. So that also is a major factor. And of course, every year, healthcare costs increasing is a major factor. So that's what's driving the budget up. There's really only one area that, in my perspective that we could cut if we wanted to, and that is we need upgrades to our information technology structure over at the police department. It could be put off a couple of years if we need to, and that's expensive. That's a $7,000-8,000 item.
So, thank you. We did
Yeah.
look at that in depth last week. I appreciate the detail. I know you put extra effort this year into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're still looking at it. It is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And, it represents a pretty significant portion of village expenses. So we are very aware of it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the reason why you have it so early is because our relationship with Bingham Farms, they're on a schedule that's 2 months ahead of Franklin's in terms of their budget preparation, and so I need to get my portion done for them so that they can figure out how much they're going to need there.
We are aware of that, and we're still working on it for you.
Okay.
Chief Roberts, with, I think just as a reminder of like the violent offenses, I know at the end of the year, you do the awards and recognitions that are
Yes.
meeting. I would appreciate if we could get maybe a month in advance, a couple weeks in advance. I want to do something more than just at this meeting getting a recognition. I would like a separate email to go out to the community for those recognitions.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's a small thing that we can do, but I think it's important.
Sure, that would be great. Yeah, we do, about the only thing we do is put it on our Facebook page with some pictures and things, but absolutely, the more the merrier. We're very proud of the work that the officers do every year, so.
And in the past, we had a separate recognition meeting.
Right.
That was very effective, very, I would advocate, rather than making it part of this, let's do something separate so that we can really
Sure.
focus on these folks and,
Or do it twice, do it separately and at council, so that more of our constituents can see it.
I think that's why we went away from it, because we weren't getting the attendance if it was just done separately, but if we have it in conjunction with the council meeting.
Okay,
But we're happy to entertain all those ideas. It's great.
okay,
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
cool. I don't see, Tony, is there a representative from the fire? Doesn't look like there is, nobody here. Lance, for treasurer's report?
Good evening, trustees and president. Please accept my written report in the capacity as the village treasurer. The bills list report for this month totals $743,161.96. The amounts on the bills list are consistent with normal monthly spending, and the expenditures are generally consistent with our budget. The bills list for this month includes a large entry of $37,600, and it's for the roof replacement construction for the police station as per the bid. The village has sufficient funds to meet its current and anticipated obligations, and the list of account balances in your package is as of February the 1st that we hold at First Merchant Bank. The balance is held in interest-bearing insured CDs at multi-bank securities, although they're very minimal right now. Apparently, they're included in the consolidated report. Any questions?
I have a question. There's a construction estimate for $192,000. What can you share about that?
Roger? Because I had questions on that, too.
That's the bills list. Let's hold
Yeah.
on to that until we get to the next item here.
We're not talking about that now?
That's a bill from the end of last month from ASI.
Yeah, that's the bill.
Not last month, last one.
It says through July, and now we're talking about in February.
It took a while to get it.
Are you computer? You do?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so let's move on to the next item, which is submission of current bills. So are there questions about the,
Can I just ask about the layout this time? Like, what was it, why is it so
I ended up cutting and pasting it to put it together so you
right?
could,
Can we
yeah.
have
Next
it back
time,
like it used to be? I don't know, there's like the first 10 pages
left and
are
the right
like
were-
without
It's not fit the
numbers.
screen. It's,
It
you
should
know,
all be on
all,
one.
you,
There's the,
The formatting seemed off, and it seemed like there wasn't some description with the
it was like you had the, right, you had like half, and then you had the money part second. And the
you know how
money part should
Excel
be in line
splits
with
into,
all
into
the.
separate pages if you don't,
We'll get that fixed.
yeah,
Yep.
that's all. it was.
Okay, because it
Yeah,
was
I
really
think
hard.
when we printed it out, we laid it out badly.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
yeah,
Okay.
that was the
you need to
whole.
print it on legal paper instead of letter. Would have done it.
Click fit the screen, and
yeah,
it's
fit the
always worked
screen,
the stroller.
fit
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah, no big deal. But that's what happened.
Would you comment on that
Yeah, sure.
192,000? Why are we just seeing it now? Was it in,
ASI was slow in getting it to us.
okay,
Weren't we holding back until they finished the patch?
No, but there's still a retention that is being held back. This is separate from the $75,000 that is being held in reserve.
I would recommend that we hold back on this too. This has been, we gotta find a way to get them to finish the job. You know, they've been messing around with this thing for years. I think, you know, we've paid them, what, 2.8 million or something so far. I think another month or two delay might give them an incentive to get out here and complete the task list.
some of it they can't do until it warms up, the
Right.
bill.
Well, that's a month from now.
We owe them this money, right?
That's correct.
Right.
That's for work completed,
And,
already completed,
And we have holdback money.
yes,
yeah.
I don't know how we write the,
75,000 isn't much of an incentive for them. It's just a frustrating process.
I don't feel like being punitive for work that's been done.
Yeah,
I recommend that you pay them for the work that was done at the latter part of the last construction season.
Yeah.
They were slow in getting it to us. Once we got it, we processed it. And I think they've earned it and they're entitled to it. And I think we still have issues to finish up, there's no doubt about that, and they will have to be paid for the time that they have yet to finish.
I agree.
It's a contractual issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
we'll get a cease and desist if we don't pay.
Yep.
And so if it's within the contract says that we can hold back funds based on performance, which it sounds like we're paying for the performance, we have to pay it. If we want to negotiate in the future to have these type of clawbacks, we can try, but, or I guess not even clawbacks, but just retention. I don't know. I don't see
We-
very much merit to it.
We do have money retained.
I have another question, if we can move on. There's $1,500 to upgrade the Krieger House as a meeting site. Can you describe?
We replaced the electronics over there, so that they could be used by anyone with a computer to, get stuff up on the screen and have it actually work. That includes the installation of the system.
And I do see a lot of fees or a lot of charges for the Apple Tree Irving pathway, so are that proceeding as planned? Anything to say about that?
I've received just at the tail end of last week, there were 3 different options that were discussed when we were out there, and those are laid out, and the charges associated with each of those alternatives is available. But I haven't gotten into the concert money yet, who's going to participate.
Thank you. There's the $8,500 line item for police contract reconciliation. Can you describe what that's about? $8,500? $8,500 for police contract reconciliation. $8,500.